Have you ever noticed a dungeon master favor their partner's ideas? Or maybe you've noticed a trend in who gets the spotlight or the magic items at different milestones? Or maybe you've even watched a domestic dispute erupt at the table. Sometimes it's important to take a little extra time to think about how you and your partner are going to fit into a table's dynamic and how you can make sure that everyone at that table is going to come away having an equally awesome adventure. So here are my tips, and the first one is actually the same tip I give anyone getting ready to play games together, and it's to make sure that you guys are interested in the same game. It's easy to think that you're just going to fit in together at the table because you fit in together in your relationship, but it's important for you not to assume what they're looking for. People often have had their own experiences, good and bad, at the table before, and they're going to color the kind of player that they are. And if you haven't played together, you may not know what they like and what they don't like, and whether or not the table you love is the table that they will love. And to that end, it is okay for you not to do this hobby together. If your styles don't vibe, it doesn't mean there's a problem in your relationship, in my opinion. It just means that you guys might not like the same kind of improvised storytelling experience. It should be okay to experience some things apart from each other. For me and my partner, we have tables that we think are great for each other and tables that we play at separately. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. For anyone worried about feeling like their partner might feel excluded, it's, awesome that you're being sensitive to that. But I will say that my partner told me one table that I was interested in playing at, they were like, I just think that, this and this are things that you really care about, and they're not super high on the list of priorities for the people at that particular table. So I think you might have a better time joining me in this game instead. And I felt really taken care of by that. So don't assume that the reaction is going to be bad if you've actually put some time into thinking about why that space might not actually be the most inviting for them. Another super important thing from the Dungeon Master perspective is to make sure that you do not talk to them exclusively about how the game is going between games. Because what ends up happening is that even though it is fun to debrief and it's natural to talk about it because they're the one that might be there, especially if they're living with you, but you can accidentally put yourself in a situation where you're constantly grabbing inspiration about what's working and what should come next based on what that one player that you're in a relationship with is interested in. And it's important that you make time to speak with everyone. And granted, time is at a premium, so I just like to think about it as like after each game, I try to check in with a different person to see how things are going. And yeah, I don't want anyone to become GM's pet. Another tip is do your friends a favor, whether this is D&D or not, and don't air your dirty laundry in front of your friends at the table. Maybe you guys are having a rough day individually or communicating together, and it's bleeding through into how you're treating each other at the table. I'm not going to say that never happens, but I always try to check myself if I feel like I'm challenging my partner differently than I would challenge somebody else, or if I feel like I'm being snapped at or something like that. Like, we always check in during break and make sure that everyone's okay. The same goes for the opposite. You don't want to come to the table having like a million inside jokes that nobody else gets. It's super awkward either way. So be equitable at the table. Share the experience with everyone and not one person more than the others. Another thing I struggle with that I'm really trying to work on is that it can feel really tempting to speak for or on behalf of your partner in an effort to advocate for them. And this is especially true when you're inviting a person to a game that's already in progress and you feel like you need to sort of make that introduction for them. That can really take some ownership away from them and keep them from forging the close relationships you already have with people at the table and learning to communicate more clearly with the other players. So while it's important that you want to support them and make it a safe transition into an established play space, you also want to make sure that you are giving them room to breathe and forge their own path in, and supporting them when they look to you for support, not assuming that they need you to make it work for them. Because there is this stereotype about dungeon masters favoring their romantic partners, I think I'm just hyper aware of it because I've seen it happen at tables before, and I wouldn't want to be the source of that kind of frustration for somebody. I really try not to delve into my partner's character's backstory first. I try to go with maybe one or two other people's first, unless it like super makes sense and is the most organic thing in the story. I just try to put other people first at the start so that everyone kind of feels like it's their table and they haven't been invited to a story I decided to tell to keep my partner's interest. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think it matters? Am I too sensitive? I might be. Tell me in the comments. And I'm curious to know from you guys, do you think this is a big deal at all? Is this whole video an overreaction? I want your honest opinion. I want to know your best and worst memories playing at the table with your partner or in the presence of other romantically involved people, because I've seen a lot go down in my life and times, and I did just start dungeon mastering a campaign that includes my partner in it in January, and I fingers crossed, I think it's going pretty well. Also, if you liked this video, you might also enjoy my video on how to add romance to your tabletop game in a safe and totally consensual way. I will put that up in the doodly-doo if you want to click on it and check it out after this video. And if you'd be so kind, please do me a favor. Please like this video, subscribe, ring the bell to make sure you get a notification every time I post a new video. I have new content going out every week, and you can also support me on Patreon. I will put the link in the info section below. The best thing about Patreon is $5 and up subscribers get a chance to sign up for monthly tabletop RPG games, whether that's D&D. We've been playing a lot of Vassin. We'll be playing some Pathfinder and Starfinder and maybe some Alien later this year. So I have a lot of cool stuff planned. I don't want you to miss out. Go ahead and see what's happening over on Patreon. And with that, I will see all of you on the next quest. Bye! Whatever Yoda wants, Yoda gets. And my dear little Yoda wants you. I'm talking to you, baby frog egg. That's... It's that? Okay. Well, that's the end of this video.